Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. We would like to present our project called Food Waste Reduction. It is an app that we create based on programming language which is Python.
My name is Shazura Nazira binti Nazmuddin, no matrix 123054.
My name is Nur Alikistina binti Muhammad Hatta. My matric number 1230567.
My name is Nurul Atira binti Nur Azam. My matrix number is 1230531.
Nama Farah Kiftina Alia binti Muhammad Fadli, nombor matrix 1230574.
For the introduction, our project used a computer programming language called Python to create easy-to-use app. These apps are designed to help people, business and community better manage their food so that less of it goes to waste. The goal is to reduce problems related to throwing away food, which is not only bad for the environment, but also waste of precious resources. The project wants to give people tools like an app that suggests recipe based on the food they already have, so they can use their food before it goes bad. The project aims to make this app smart and helpful for everyone, making it easier for us all to be more responsible with our food.
There are four objectives. First, minimize food waste. Second, save time and money. Third, encourage the practice of not wasting food. Fourth, develop user-friendly application. For minimize food waste, it designed application with features such as recipe suggestion based on available ingredients to help user use up their food before it reach its expiration date or after it reach its expiring date. And for the save time and money, information saved on food that expired and not expired that can be referred to will help user to save money during grocery shopping, especially when user don't remember which food has expired and which food hasn't. Referring to the saved data allow user to not buy too much food. Next, for not wasting food, instead of only disposing of food when it has expired, this program suggests alternative way like using the expired food for a recipe. Example, most of the time, recently expired bread that is kept in the fridge could still be eaten with the right recipe. Lastly, for develop user-friendly application, we create easy-to-use apps using Python programming to assist individual, business and community in managing their food resources efficiently. Next, for the project scope, the scope of the project is the food waste reduction project aimed to address the growing issue of food waste within the community by implementing a multi-phase strategy. We create a Python application that will optimize grocery shopping, handle inventory and make recipe suggestion based on what was in stock to decrease down on food waste. Next, for feature and functionalities, first, recipe suggestion. Based on the ingredient that currently available, search and suggest recipe. Allow user to comment on and review recipe. Second, analytic and reporting. Track showing change in food consumption over time. Evaluate and display the quantity of food waste that has been cut down. Third, optimizing your grocery shopping. Make a grocery list based on what meals you want to eat that week, taking use of machine learning to recommend the right amount in order to reduce waste. Last, for the limitation and constraint. First, accuracy of data. Accurate quantity and expiration time information is required of the system to function well. Second, a database of recipe. A small recipe collection might have an effect on the number of suggested foods. Lastly, privacy issue. Maintaining user confidentiality and following to data protection rules.
Next, the programming tools that we use in the project is Visual Studio Code. We select Visual Studio Code because of its lightweight design, easy user interface and wide range of customization options. Its rich feature set, which includes integrated terminals, debugging assistant and version control integration, streamline the development process. The availability of a large range of extensions and the active community support it receives contribute to its increased versatility. Additionally, its cross-platform compatibility guarantees a consistent experience on various operating systems. Its frequent upgrades and status as a free and open source tool, which complement the project's specification and financial limitation, further support the choice. In developing the food waste reduction project using Visual Studio Code, some of the key components are IntelliSense. Visual Studio Code provides intelligent code completion, suggestions, and auto-completion, making it easier to write Python code. Next, code navigation goes to definition, find reference, and other navigation features help the project explore and understand code bases efficiently. Thirdly, an integrated terminal for Visual Studio Code, allowing us to run Python scripts and commands directly within us. Additionally, is testing to integrate with testing frameworks like PyTest, make it easy for us to run tests and view results. Next is debugging, has powerful debugging capabilities with features like breakpoints, step-through execution, variable inspection, and watch expressions. Then is task automation, is the ability to define and run custom tasks that automates common development workflows. Last is snippets, provide the ability to use or create code snippets for commonly used code patterns, improving productivity. We also face some challenges during the implementation in our project. First, to use models like dead time for the first time. The way to overcome the challenges is share the internet and do further research on the usage of module dead time. Second is to store more than one data in multiple lists and by using for loops. The way to overcome is did a number of trials to see if the elements enter in the correct list by asking the program to print the set elements. Lastly is to create a new file right in and while making sure it can be referred to later on. The way to overcome is make sure the arrangement of the code is neat so it's easier to spot the fault. Check if the code works by running the program.
Next, we move to the important functionalities. The first important function is the date input and comparing date. This is important function to determine the date, and then we detect if the food is expired, almost expired, or still can be used. But the second important function is a function about saving data. This function is important to make sure if users want to save data of food or not.
Moving on to the next section of our presentation, which is where we'll be talking about features and functionalities. So our program offers three main features, one of them being to determine if food entered by the user has expired or not. So how we implemented this feature into the program is by importing the time module to store the date input. Users enter the day, month, and year individually, and the program will use a sub-function to store input into date forms. We also use list to store data for food entered to use in for loops and etc. So in the pictures given are the proofs of the functionalities mentioned. So the first picture is a sub-function where it will convert three separate input from users into a date, where as you can see in the third picture there's the variable year, month, and day, and then below the syntax for when we ask user to enter day, there's the variable that expired, where we call back the subfunction and enter the data of year, month, and day that are entered by users. The second picture, it shows how we use list to store data. Another functionality that we have implemented to support the first feature is by using conditionals if, else for the comparison. So in the picture is a sub-function of our program where it compares dates between the date the user enters the data and the expiring date the user entered. Second feature of the program is that the program stores data entered by users. So the functionality of this feature is that it uses file-related syntax to save data entered by users. So in the picture here, it shows how we use syntax like open file and etc. to write down the information given by the user into a new file to be accessed in the future. Going on to our last feature for the program, which is to be able to display saved data at a later time. So the functionality for the feature is that second time users who chose to save their data previously could access their most recently saved data. So according to the picture, if user says that they're not a first time user, then there will be the option to either enter new food data or to refer to old data. So if they choose the second option, then the coding under elif would happen, where it will open the file where the data previously was saved. Moving on to our next section of the presentation, which is testing. So there's two types of testing that we will be showing, which is unit testing and integration testing. So let's start with unit testing, where it is a way of testing the smallest functional unit of code. So number one, we tested if the sub-function of date input works by asking the program to print out the expiring date in date form. Okay, so the picture under the words unit tested is the small unit, or well, a series of codes that works to convert three data into a date form. So there's the way of testing, and the picture below it is a sub-function where we ask the program to print out the result from the sub-function date input. And lastly, the picture under test result is what happens when the codes are run. So as we can see here, the year entered was 2023, the month entered was 12, and the day entered was 31. And fortunately, when we run the program, the expiring date shown by the program is correct, which is 2023-12-31. The second unit that we tested is we tested if comparison in if, else between current date and expiring date works by printing out respective output according to input entered. So the unit tested is basically the second sub-function of our program, which is the picture shown here, where we use if, else to compare dates. So how did we test that part of the program is by asking the program to print out the output based on this block of code. So the test result is as shown, which shows that the comparison between today's date and expiring date produce the right output, which is food has passed expiring date, as well today's date is more recent than the expiring date. The last unit of code that we tested is we tested if data was actually saved in a file by running the program as a second time user. So the unit tested here is a small part of the main program, which is where the program opens a file and read it out. So the way of testing is that we ask the program to print out the data. So the test result is as follows in the pictures. So first we look at the picture where it starts with checking nasi lemak. So the checking nasi lemak picture is basically from user's first time using the program, whereas the picture below is what the program shows when the user enters the program for the second time. So we could see that the name of food is nasi lemak, type of food is rice, and situation is 2 because previously the user chose the option 2, which is to use suitable recipes for the expired food. Next, we move on to integration test. So integration test is basically a demonstration. So let's all start with demonstration for a first-time user. So picture number 1 shows how the program starts off with showing the title and today's date. And it also asks, are you a first-time user or not? Because this will be relevant and will affect the rest of the code. So for a first time, since this is a demonstration for a first-time user, yes, we entered yes. So welcome, enter number of food in possession. This is why we choose to use list, because list is a convenient way for us to store data in an organized manner. So enter number of food in possession, we decided to enter 2. So you have 2 food, please enter the details required for each food according to instruction. So based on instruction, first users have to enter the food's name, then the type of food, and then the year of the expiring date, and then the month of the expiring date, and then the day of the expiring date. Users will have to enter data according to instruction properly. If not, the data produced or the output produced and printed may differ and be incorrect. So the process will repeat for the number of food entered. So in our case, since we chose 2 food, this whole thing will repeat for only 2 times. Now, look at picture number 9. So now it checks each food. So the first food is yet to be eaten because expiring date is like still further away, whereas for nasi lemak, it already expired. So now when food has expired, the users are left with 2 options. The first option being to throw away the food, or the second option being to use a suitable recipe for the food. So depending on the user's choice, this will affect what will happen later when user decided to save data and to refer to it later. So if user choose number 1, the sentence please dispose of the food properly will be shown. Whereas if user choose number 2, the program will display a number of websites that could provide suitable recipes. Would you like to save your food data? So we will pick yes if we want to save, if the users want to save. If they don't want to save, then they will pick no. Once you pick yes, your file name will be food, file is saved and can be accessed in the future. That's the end of the first demonstration. The second demonstration starts basically the same, the title, the date. The difference is that when they ask, are you a first time user, we would answer no. So when you pick no during first time user, we'll come back, do you want to enter new food data or refer to old data? So choose refer to old data, then the data from the previous time the user has used the program will be printed out. As you can see here, croissant pastry situation 0 because it hasn't expired, and then nasi lemak rice 1 because the user decided to throw away the food. That's all from me. Moving on to the next presenter.
While working on this project, we encountered some challenges and difficulties to ensure our project runs smoothly. One of the challenges is to have practical communication when working on the project. Is key when working on group project. It's important to establish clear communication channel and ensure that everyone is on the same page. Next challenge is collaboration. It is important to ensure that everyone is contributing equally and that everyone's ideas are being heard. And technical difficulty can arise at any time during programming project. This can include issues with software, hardware, or even internet connectivity. Future enhancement that can be used in this project is incorporate machine learning. Use machine learning algorithm to predict likelihood of food spoilage based on factors such as temperature, humidity, and storage condition. Next is integrate with food bank. Add feature that link with local food bank to donate access food to those in need. This will help reduce food waste and support the community. Lastly, we can add social component to this application, such as a community forum that users can share their food waste reduction progress and tips. Also share information about campaign. This will increase awareness about food waste and reduce the amount of household food waste generated. Conclusion: the food waste reduction project is an innovative initiative that uses Python to create apps that can help people reduce food waste. This app can provide useful features such as suggesting recipes based on the available ingredients that can help users make the most on their food. By reducing food waste, the project can contribute to environmental sustainability and resource efficiency, as well as saving time and money for the user. The project demonstrates how Python can be used to create user-friendly and smart applications that can solve real-world problems and make a positive impact on society.